What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Philly with Jon Marks on PHLY. As always, presented by BetParks, where the Eagles, 3.5-point favorites against the Giants up at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. I know I had said, I don't know if it was yesterday, maybe the day before, that if you're planning on betting the Eagles, just wait. The line will probably come down to 2.5. Not so fast, my friend. We'll see where this line goes into Saturday and then before kickoff. But last I looked this morning, Eagles minus 3.5 points at the BetParks or on the BetParks app. We will talk Eagles and Giants, and I'll give you a tease. I'm picking the Giants to win the game outright. And I am 5-0 on my Eagles picks this year. I have been right pretty much every week. The show has had a really good read on the games and on the Eagles in the games. So that's coming up here in a little bit. But I wanted to start with this because I used to, back in my old life when I worked afternoons at WIP, I would take the kids to school in the morning. Now I picked them up from school, working in the morning, but I would drop them off either at the bus stop or I would drive them to school. I'd try to get them at the bus stop once or twice a week. And talking to the dads at the bus stop used to be kind of my metric or my barometer for what people are saying or thinking about our teams, right? So after the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, and my guy Seamus was so angry that Nick Sirianni was crying at the Super Bowl. He still texts me about it. He still texts me to this day. Anytime the Eagles will send me a picture of Nick Sirianni crying. But I think it's a good measuring stick of what people think about the teams and what people are saying about the teams. Same thing with going to Wawa in the morning, the day after an Eagles game. You're getting coffee in the coffee area. What are people saying about the teams? What are people saying about the Phillies? Well, yesterday I'm waiting in line to pick up my youngest from nursery school. And one of the guys, he also has a son that plays football, and I see him on Saturdays all the time as well. We start talking about the Phillies. And the more I talk about the Phillies, the more sad I get. It's really weird. After the series, after they lose to the Mets, you have some anger. You have some, like, all right, like, this is BS. They should have beat the Mets. They should be in the NLCS right now. This isn't, they're like, what the hell's going on? What are they doing? What's Rob Thompson doing? Right? But then you take the emotion out of everything. And Tyler and I were actually talking about this before the show. When they lost the World Series, even though they were up 2-1 and they were at home and they had a great chance to win a championship, the Astros were the better team. So I remember after the series, yeah, we were mad and we were upset. Maybe even we were angry that they lost. But I think when you took that step back and a week after the series was over, you said, I know I said this, Astros were the better team. They just flat out were. They deserved it. Last year against the Diamondbacks, you can't say the same thing because they were not the better team. The Phillies totally blew that. But when you're looking at this loss and kind of going back and forth with them, you get more and more sad. And here's why. Like, I'd said this last week, or maybe it was even the week before. I don't know. But I'd said that this team right here, this Phillies team, this core, this group, the window has closed on winning a championship. And man, people got mad. People got really, really angry with me. And it's like, all right, I'm just telling you, like, I think that their best chance to win a championship has passed them, which is really, I guess, what I could have said, or like it's semantics. It all means the same thing. But this team's best chance to win a championship has passed them. It has. I watched the Dodgers and the Mets. I'm watching the Yankees and the Guardians. And baseball's year to year. I get it. The Phillies could end up being the hot team next year and look totally different. But there's no thought in my mind that, well, damn it, if the Phillies could have just figured out the Mets, they could be in the NLCS against the Dodgers and going to the World Series. They would lose every game they would play to the Dodgers. The Dodgers are thumping the Mets right now Beat them again last night 3-1. Mets are walking everybody. Like, the Phillies weren't going to win this year. And I still think the Phillies are a good team and a playoff team next year, but their best opportunity to win a championship is gone. They were in the World Series, up 2-1, on their home field in 2022, and they lost. They were up 2-0 in the NLCS against an inferior Arizona team that didn't make the playoffs this year. They came back to Citizens Bank Park needing one win in their final 2 games. They were that close to going up 3-0 until Craig Kimbrell blew it, and then blew it again in Game 4. That was the year. That's the one that's going to burn the most. But when you look at where the Phillies are now, that was their best chance to win a championship. I don't feel like running it back or making minor tweaks or something like that the Phillies are a championship team again. I'm sorry, I just don't. The more and more I talk about the Phillies situation, the more not so positive John comes out. The more sad John comes out. Not mad John, sad John. Because I like this team. And this is a good team. This isn't the year that everything falls off. 2025 is not going to be the year that everything falls off. They have a really good rotation. Hopefully Dave Dombrowski can figure out the bullpen. They still have stars that are on this roster. They still have a lot of talent. But here's really why I get sad. It is official. It's official, and it will officially be not fun to be a Phillies fan going forward. And here's why. Everything is going to be hurry up and get to the playoffs. We made the World Series run in 2022 and lost. We didn't expect that. Last year, 2023, we were expecting to get back because you just lost in the World Series. And then you had an epic collapse against the Diamondbacks. And now this year, you had a really fun regular season pretty much up until the trade deadline or the All-Star break. And it stopped being fun because we all said, oh no, are we not going to be the hot team? Are we going to be the team that we beat in 2022? Are we going to be the team that gets beaten like the Diamondbacks won in 2023? It's not going to be fun watching this team in the regular season anymore because those things don't matter. They just won the NL East. They just won a lot of regular season games. And what did we do a lot of the second half of the season? And I had to stop myself from doing it because I didn't think it was productive and I thought it was negative. Was worrying about, oh my God, what are we going to be playing like when we get to the playoffs? What are the Phillies going to look like when you get to the playoffs? Doesn't matter if you win 95 games. Doesn't matter if you win 100 games. Doesn't matter if you win the NL East. All those things are out the window. It's going to become hurry up and get to the playoffs, and then we're going to judge everything on that. And it's a tough place to be as a fan. We talked to Larry Anderson yesterday towards the end of the show, and he even said it. The expectation is World Series or bust. So if the expectation is World Series or bust, it's also hurry up and get to the playoffs. And then we'll judge everything. And then you're going to be biting your nails the whole time trying to get to the playoffs, which sucks. We did it with the Eagles. We did it with the Andy Reid Eagles. It's almost similar to this team. They lost the NFC Championship game in 2001, which no one really thought was all that bad of a loss. They lost to a great Rams team on the road. 2002, terrible loss against the Buccaneers. 2003, that was a hurry up and get to the playoffs so we can avenge that NFC Championship game and go to the Super Bowl. And then they lost. That was a terrible season. And then T.O. came in 2004, and that made things a lot better. But still, nothing mattered in the regular season. Everything was about getting to the playoffs and getting to the NFC Championship game. That's what the Phillies have now become. The Phillies entering next year will be nothing but, all right, let's get to the playoffs. So, tough place to be as a Phillies fan because it's a really long season. It's a really long season. As we welcome in Tyler Zulli, who will give us the headlines coming up in a second. Maybe I'll try to cut up this beginning and put it out there again, saying that their best opportunity has passed them to win a World Series, and people will get mad. Outside of that baseball thing where you go on that run and you get hot at the right spot and everything clicks, which very well could happen with the Phillies. That's how they're going to win a World Series.
Yeah, so the one team that I always think about is the 80 Phillies. Because if you look at the years prior, especially 76 and 77, if my stat history is remembering correctly, those two teams were better than the 80 team. The 80 team kind of had a feel of almost like, you better get this done or it's going to be a disbanding soon. Dispansion, I don't know. They were going to be disbanded, in some capacity, maybe break the core up a little bit. They go on to win the World Series. Those types of runs are plausible, I presume. But I think it's fair to say, if you're talking about just the sheer age of the core of this team, every year that this core gets older, I think you probably do start to worry about the close of a window a little bit more and a little bit more. They have the talent to make a run. They also have the propensity to fall into this like cavernous wasteland of chase rate. And, the bats go cold at a wrong time, and they struggle in the NLDS. They struggle in the NLCS, last year in the final couple of games, because they were kind of rolling through the first two games of the NLCS last year, and then everything kind of changed when the Dodgers made adjustments, when the Diamondbacks made adjustments, and they didn't. But I do think that it's fair to say the older that this group gets, the more difficult it is going to be to capture a title. I think, you and I were talking prior to the show, and I think a lot of people have this feel of, well, if they would have beaten the Diamondbacks, they were winning the World Series. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Texas was really, really rolling. Their bullpen, which was terrible all year, was pitching great. Jordan Montgomery was pitching well. Nate Eovaldi was pitching well. And the offense was rolling. Seager was awesome. Simeon was awesome. They had a good team. I don't know if they beat Texas.
I don't think so either. And I'll let you finish. Like, that's still, even though you lose in the World Series and it would be the second year in a row, that's not a lost season. That's like getting to the World Series is almost a separate thing, right? Like getting the Super Bowl, like you just try to get to the Super Bowl, then you take it from there.
Sure.
Same thing with the World Series. So I agree with you.
And maybe they don't beat Texas, and Texas was rolling, and they were playing well, and okay, so you lose in the World Series for a second consecutive year. That would be kind of gut wrenching, because it's like you got to the doorstep and lost. But I think the evaluation of last year would be different had they have beaten Arizona and then fallen to Texas in the World Series. So all of these things can play together to say, yeah, it becomes more difficult as your core ages. It becomes more difficult as you press closer and closer and closer to the luxury tax threshold, where you feel like you really can't spend a whole lot of money without shedding money, right? And whether that be moving Taijuan Walker and finding a team that wants to eat the money, or do you break up a piece of the core?
Not a lot of wiggle room.
That's my point. Not a lot of wiggle room. So you're kind of relying on non-regression years from your core, and as your catcher ages and becomes more banged up, and his offensive productivity slips a little bit, and your DH and your right fielder and your first baseman, all of whom played well throughout the season. I'm not saying that they didn't, but as like your veteran leadership core gets older, it does become a little bit more challenging to, reach a pinnacle when you feel like you probably should have knocked on that door and opened the door at some point earlier in the campaign.
Your older players, I don't think are going to be playing better. How you can make up for that is you could say, all right, well, Stott's going to get better, Boom's going to get better. This young player is going to get better. Are any of their younger players getting better? Stott took a step. By
the way, they're not young anymore.
No, you're right.
I'm tired of kind of having the young conversation, because I like some, I'm like the conductor of the Stott train. I have been for a long time, and he really kind of made me look stupid this year.
Yeah, he regressed.
He regressed. There's no doubt about it. It was a poor season from him. But this young group, like this daycare thing, isn't young anymore. Somebody put up a point the other day, and obviously it's farcical and kind of far-fetched to assume that if Juan Soto were to be a Philly, but they said in jest, Juan Soto would be the youngest member of the daycare if he was to be, you know what I mean? So like this young group of guys, they're still young, right? They're 26 and 27, and but they're not this unseasoned group of players anymore.
I'm tired of the daycare stuff. I don't want to hear the daycare anymore. It's annoying.
I get it.
It's annoying. These guys aren't young anymore.
I understand. I get your point. I get what frustrates you. My point being, like, this core that the younger group of the core that you're hoping can continue to grow. Alec Boehm had a great regular season. I think it was by far his best season as a professional baseball player.
He was good.
He's 27.
Right.
Brandon Marsh, I think, took a step back. Bryson Stott took a step back. So if you're relying upon these young guys to grow, to continue to help supplement the core of aging veterans, well, 2 of the 3 guys that you're hoping for, I think, had worse seasons this year than they did last year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. It's a combination of everything. It is. Schwarber's going to have better seasons than he had right now. He's been great. I don't think you can continue to rely on those older guys getting better. JT's in the final year of a contract. Rangers in the final year of a contract. Schwarber's in the final year of a contract coming up. You're resigning these guys long term. It's just, it's a lot it's a lot. It's a lot.
So I think you can separate the two pieces of the question. Like, are they good enough on paper? Yeah, I still think that they are, but they haven't shown you that over the last 2 years. And as they continue to get older, it just becomes more and more difficult, especially considering the fact that Atlanta's going to get healthy next year.
Changes the division, changes everything.
Atlanta gets their Cy Young candidate back. They get their MVP candidate back. They get a healthy Austin Riley. They'll get a full season of Ozzy Albies. They'll get, it's Michael Harris missed a lot of time. Like, there's going to be a complement of the rest of the National League is going to likely at least stay the same, if not get better.
For sure. Absolutely. For sure. All right, let's do we'll get to our headlines coming up in a second, but I wanted to get this in right now. And it's a brand new sponsor to PHLY, and it's a brand new sponsor right here to Philly with Jon Marks. C-Jam Construction. What's up, C-Jam Construction? Let's give them a round of applause right here for joining the movement that is PHLY. Family-owned home remodeler specializing in decks, bathrooms, and flooring. And it's C-Jam. C-J-A-M. C-Jam Construction. Their goal is to help their clients alleviate the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling. And they're running a spooky season sale. So going right up until Halloween, October 31st, on CoreLogic luxury vinyl plank flooring. Prices starting at $249 per square foot. Savings, that's up to 35% off of retail. Taxes and fees are extra. CoreLogic flooring is 100% waterproof, formaldehyde-free, and featuring an elegant natural wood look and feel. It's durable flooring, no less than 20 mil wear layer. That means it's an excellent, pretty much the best protection you can have against scratches and scuffs. So if you have kids running around like I do, dogs, pets, they crush your floor, right? Plus a plank thickness of 5 millimeters. So if you're looking for new floors, now's a great time to do it with C-Jam Construction. They'll get you done. Decks, bathrooms, flooring. That's what they specialize in. Mention PHLY when you call them about your next home project. Bathrooms, decks, flooring, their full selection of luxury vinyl plank flooring, and you can learn more about the products and warranties on their website. It's CJAM, the letter C, J-A-M, construction.com. CJamconstruction.com/flooring if you want to see more about their flooring stuff. But their overall website, CJamconstruction.com. Or you can call them 856-329-2933. 856-329-2933. I wish I would have known about C-Jam Constructions when I had my flooring done in my house a couple years ago. There you go. All right. The NTL. That's right. The National Thoroughbred League. It's coming tomorrow. This is going to be really cool. National Thoroughbred League owns the day at Parks Racing with a lineup of 5 NTL races and Philadelphia's biggest day of racing outside of the Pennsylvania Derby. It's the NTL Philadelphia Cup, hosted by Dr. J, Julius Irving. He's the Philadelphia Stallions co-owner. How about that? So they're calling it October Fast. See what they do there? Meet and greets with, check this out. How about Philly sports legends like Dr. J, that I mentioned, Brian Westbrook, Seth Joyner, Freddie Mitchell. Also, a few Giants. Otis Anderson, Howard Cross, Beasley Reese, making it a very interesting thing right ahead of their matchup coming up on Sunday. Private Beer Garden, that's very cool. Great brews on tap. The NTL Music Stage with Philly legends and other performers. Best in Philly food offerings. Incredible art demonstrations. Fashion shows. Dress in your derby best. Strut your stuff in front of the crowd, and you may find yourself in the actual winner's circle. And, of course, the most exciting day of racing anywhere, the NTL 10 teams, from the Stallions to the New York Knights to the California Shamrocks, facing off in 5 consecutive races with 3 hours of higher stakes, building excitement, cheering sections, and then the big finale. It's like nothing else in horse racing or sports today. Doors open at noon. Races start at 2:30. And right here, we're partnering with NTL to give diehards exclusive access to this event. How about this? Free admission at the gate. Just show them your email subscription. Free admission at the gate. For more info, visit ntl.racing. ntl.racing. There you go. And you can go meet Freddie Mitchell if you go. You know, the hell with Brian Westbrook or Seth. Freddie Mitchell's a nice guy, though. He is. Brian Westbrook, of course, synonymous with the Giants because of the great punt return. Miracle at the Meadowlands 2.
Yep.
How about that? And actually I was looking at the PHLY daily email by Rich Hoffman Jr. yesterday, and he was talking about it. He actually said Matt Joyce. Matt Joyce was not the punter. That was, of course, against Deshaun Jackson. So it was not the punter. Who was the punter who punted to Brian Westbrook in 2003 for Miracle at the Meadowlands #2?
Was it Jeff Fiegels?
Former Eagle Jeff Fiegels is correct. Correct. Yep.
Wait, by the way, not to call anybody out, did he say it's Matt Joyce?
Or Matt Dodge.
Okay, I was going to say Matt Joyce was a Major League Baseball player.
Matt Dodge. So I'm an idiot too.
I didn't mean to call you out either. I heard Matt Joyce. I'm like, did I enter Bizarro World?
He had, and I was trying to email him, but we were on the air when I saw it, and then I forgot. But yeah, it wasn't, because you remember Matt Dodge. It was like the last thing he was supposed to do was punt it to Deshaun so he could catch it. Meanwhile, he gives him a line drive.
I thought Tom Coughlin was going to punch him in the face when he walked off the field.
It's one of the best things ever. Hit the red face, and he's got the clipboard, and he's just can't believe what he just saw.
He was absolutely ready to fight the punter that day.
Oh man, that was the best. All right, so I'm going to tell you why the Giants are winning on Sunday. So I'm sure Eagles fans will be happy to hear that. But first, let's get to the headlines. Here's Tyler Zulli.
Yeah, let's do it. And we'll tell you, of course, our headlines are brought to us by our friends over at the Glatt Hair Restoration, because as I've been telling you for a while, bald can now be optional. And if you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt has the right treatment for you. They're going to help you regain your confidence. All you have to do is visit glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started. So let's start locally, John, and then we'll get to some of the amazing nature of what was the ALCS last night. We'll talk about the NLCS as well. But the Flyers wrap up their West Coast road trip with a 1-2-1 record as they lose to the Seattle Kraken 6-4 yesterday. And John, what did we say yesterday? The way to beat the Kraken is to not give up an average of 6 goals, and they gave up 6 goals. Flyers up 2-1 after one, but the Kraken scored 4 times in the second. I'm not going to lie to you. I know it's only 2 starts. Ivan Fedotov has not been good in either of his starts this year. 19 saves on 24 attempts, a 79 save percentage. He really hasn't been good in either start. Flyers fall 6-4 and fall to 1-2-1. But John, the good news is our lifeline, the kid Matvei Michkov, now is on a point per game production level through 4 games. He's got 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. Another assist last night. Scott Lawton with 2 goals and an assist. Garnet Hathaway and Ryan Poehling 2 assists apiece. They finished the road trip 1-2-1. Kind of expected, because that's what happens when you go out to the West Coast. Yeah. But they'll be back home for their home opener tomorrow night against the Vancouver Canucks. All
right, so real fast, I'm not gonna do fake sports guy. I don't know a lot about the Flyers. I'm learning, maybe like a lot of people out there. This goalie Fedotov, does he? I mean, he came. Was he like a Russian that they signed?
Correct.
He was a little bit older, and now he's come over here, but he really hasn't played in the NHL. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, he got some time. He got some work last year. He's a huge dude, just a massive body in the net, but he just doesn't seem like he has.
He's the 6'8" guy.
He doesn't seem like he has the whatever it is to be an NHL goaltender. He's really struggled in his first 2 starts this season. He had a really good start at the beginning of his career last year, and then things kind of fell apart. Could be a product of the fact that the Flyers' defense wasn't particularly good last year. But I think Fedotov now has given up 9 goals in his first 2 starts.
Or maybe he just stinks. Maybe he's just not very good. I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the long-term answer for him is. I think the Flyers are desperately hoping that Sam Ersson can be the everyday guy for the foreseeable future.
All right. Well, that's something to monitor.
Let's real quick tonight. The Sixers wrap up preseason basketball. I know everybody cares about preseason, especially considering the last 2 nights have ended in injury results for Sixers players. They'll head to Orlando to take on the Magic. Next Wednesday, the Sixers open up their regular season against the Milwaukee Bucks. Games count for real this time next week.
How about that? That is really cool. That's something to look forward to. Now the Phillies are gone. You need something to they don't play every night like baseball, but still between the Flyers and the Sixers, we'll have a couple nights a week of viewing pleasure, hopefully.
So we'll dive more deeply into that probably next week. But let's get to the big games that do matter. We'll start in the NLCS because the ALCS had all the electricity last night. Dodgers roll the Mets once again. They score 10, and Jose Quintana, for the first time in this postseason, gives up an earned run. The Dodgers win 10-2 over the New York Mets and are now a game away from their first World Series trip in 4 years. It's been a whole 4 years since the Dodgers have been in the World Series. They're up 3-1 in the NLCS. It looks, John, like the Mets magic may have just about run out.
Well, it's over, and they're shocked because they're like, what is this? The Dodgers aren't required to swing at everything that we throw.
Mets pitchers walked 9 guys yesterday. They've now walked 29 hitters in the first 4 games of this NLCS.
Yeah, they're being outclassed. This is still a successful season for the Mets.
We'll see, for sure.
We'll see what they build on after this year. But when you look at that Dodgers lineup, and I know we talked a lot about that starting pitching, when Ohtani and Mookie Betts are hot, good luck. 1 and 2 in the order that they can do everything. And Ohtani, for being a guy with that much power, the fact that he gets on base and he can steal better than almost anybody is unbelievable. So even without Freddie Freeman, because he's had that bad ankle, the Dodgers are still rolling right now, man. They're making it look easy. So I expect them to close in 5.
Yeah, I think you're probably correct in that one. And it's funny, if you look at the splits between Ohtani with runners on base and the bases empty, he was 0 for heading into last night with the bases empty, but he was hitting like 600 with runners in scoring position and runners on base. It's incredible what that guy does. It's incredible what this. They've put together a really nice run. Their pitching's been awesome, considering the fact that it was a total question mark heading into the postseason.
He walked 3 times last night, had the home run. Mookie Betts had the home run. And they're rolling right now. So that was I didn't have to watch a lot of that game, but I did see the ALCS game
which was a
night.
much closer, much crazier game. The Guardians entered the top of the 8th up 2-1. The Yankees score 3 runs in the 8th to make it a 4-2 lead. They tack on 1 in the 9th to make it a 5-2 lead. And with the season effectively on the line for the Cleveland Guardians, down 5-3. It was 4-3 and 5-3. With the season effectively on the line, Luke Weaver on the mound, who's been awesome in the second half of the year for the New York Mets, and Big Christmas, as they call him in Cleveland, steps up. This is Tom Hamilton on the Cleveland Guardians radio call. Big Christmas ties the game in the 9th with 1 swing of the bat. How about that one, though? Bedlam in Cleveland. How about that?
I'm going to have to text my buddy Scott. Does he get a cut of that call?
Yeah, is there compensation for that? But the game obviously goes to extra innings after that 2-run home run to tie the game at 5. The Yankees do not score in the top of the 10th. A little more Cleveland magic as Stephen Vogt's guys aren't done yet. David Fry this time plays the hero. Tom Hamilton once again. The first ALCS win for the Cleveland Guardians since they won the ALCS in 2016 to go to the World Series and take on the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, it was Judge ties it in the 8th. Stanton back-to-back. They take the lead. And then that insurance run in the 9th inning, it was like, all right, well, that's it.
Sure,
now they're
felt
up
like
2.
It was over.
And Cleveland staring down the barrel of going down 3-0 in the ALCS, and it's over. It's effectively over. To come back with a home run, a 2-run homer to tie it, and then that in the 10th to win it was like baseball's given us every cent of what we could, every drop of anything we could expect from playoff baseball.
Yeah, if you can shed your sadness for a little bit, these playoffs have been really, really good baseball.
Yeah, they really have. Great call last night on the TBS broadcast. Was TBS last night?
Yes, it was.
Joe Davis?
No, it was Brian Anderson.
Brian Anderson, yeah. Really, really good calls. If we played it on here, we would get in trouble, so we can't play it. But yeah, like really, really good calls, good local calls. I heard John Sterling's calls as well. Even the Cleveland winner was Sterling was like, what a game. Like, what a back and forth game. Like, even if it's your team that is a recipient of this home run, how can you still not have a vibrant call? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's always good to hear is when you have a road broadcaster who is able to understand the complexity of the moment. Yeah, it hurts their team, but like you have to be able to get there has to be an excitement value. It's not excitement in the fact that you're excited the other team won, but you have to raise the level for a call like that. Like if you're the San Diego Padres radio announcer the year that Harper hit Bedlam at the bank, you've got to be going kind of nuts. It's still a
you get swept up in the moment,
like a prophetic baseball moment.
Yeah. Wow. And the Broncos rolled the Saints last night. That was as ugly and bad of a game as you'll see this season. And it was on Prime.
The Saints stink.
And it was on Prime. I was trying to, on Thursday nights, it takes me a good 20, 25 minutes to get all the recyclables in the trash because Friday's trash and recycle day. So my wife makes apparel and shirts and stuff like that. So she has box after box after box, which never gets broken down by her. So it just gets thrown in the garage for me Thursday night. So I'm trying to watch the Amazon game and, it's streaming. So like things constantly done. And I heard people that were watching Jamie Lynch. I think he has Hulu. He has Hulu.
Yes.
He was trying to watch the ALCS and it was zapping out during the ninth inning, during the bottom of the ninth inning.
Yeah, that's not great.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's not great. Let me ask you a question because I know people are talking about the Bedlam and Cleveland thing in the chat.
Right.
If he goes chaos in Cleveland,
man,
the alliteration feels a little better, right?
It's a much better call. Bedlam at the bank rolls off your tongue.
Yeah, it's alliteration.
The bees.
Right.
Chaos in Cleveland would make it iconic. It's chaos in Cleveland.
Like that would have worked, I think, better. And I know you're in the moment. It's hard to, you're not trying to script a call, but I think that would have worked a little bit better.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, well, thank you, Tyler. As we have our locks later on coming up in about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. And just saying, Tyler Zulli, like he needs an 800 number. He needs a half-hour infomercial on one of the radio stations on Saturday and Sunday morning. What is your record this year?
John, I do not have that screaming in me, the fake carnival screaming sound.
Call right now. 5-0.
I believe alongside the Eagles, the 5 Eagles games we've picked this week or this year, I am 17-6.
You're 11 games over 500.
Yes.
All right, well, just don't bet them because the minute you start betting,
the minute I start betting, I'm going to lose.
Yeah. When you know that, too, which is good.
100%.
17-6. I'm over 500 with my picks. So combined, we're actually, with the VIG, I'm still losing money. But Tyler, so stay tuned.
Now you put the two of us together, I think we're 29-17 or something like that. That's still great.
Just saying, I know the PHLY Eagles guys probably look at me and look at us and be like, what do those guys know about football? All right, guys. Why don't you reveal your picks on the NFL against the spread? All right? You're not beating us here. All right, so I think this is an Eagles loss on Sunday. This is a bad time for the Eagles to be facing the Giants. First of all, they're on the road. And MetLife Stadium has not been a friendly confine for the Eagles over the years. In particular, Nick Sirianni is 1-3 up the turnpike against New York. But it's also, the Eagles are facing the Giants at a time where they're really still trying to figure things out. They're trying to figure the offense out. They're scuffling. Jalen looked good last week, but still, as a whole, with the talent that this team has, they're not performing to the level anywhere near where they should be right now. And now they also have some pretty significant injuries, losing Jordan Mailata, losing Dallas Goedert, both for multiple weeks. And going up against a Giants team, the best thing that the Giants do is rush the quarterback. They lead the league with 26 sacks, but they're also sacking quarterbacks. So because they're the Giants and they're not in a lot of shootouts, there's less passing in their games, right? So 14.1% of their pass plays, they're getting a sack, which would be the highest percentage since 1989. They were able to keep it at this rate. Now, there's a long way to go, but that's the last time a team has had that high of a sacks on pass plays, the percentage, right? So they're very good at getting the quarterback. The Eagles, meanwhile, are among the worst in the NFL protecting the quarterback, allowing sacks on almost 9% of their pass plays. A lot of that's on Jalen Hurts for holding the ball too long or whatever. But now with Jordan Mailata out, it is going to be that much more difficult. So I think this is going to be an ugly defensive turnover battle that the Eagles come up short. The things that the Giants do well, and I watched them play last week, they scored 7 points. Daniel Jones made mistakes. But Daniel Jones, what I've seen a little bit of what they've gotten back to this year is that Brian Daboll, if you remember the previous year, 2 years ago, Daniel Jones was a big part of the offense running the ball, designed runs, not just scrambles, not just, all right, the play's breaking down, let me get outside of the pocket and make some plays. No, they're actually moving the chains with Daniel Jones running the ball. I would expect to see a lot more of that this year because it's effective. Can you win long-term like that? Can you win a Super Bowl like that? No, of course, because Daniel Jones isn't good enough of a quarterback. But Brian Daboll is trying to win regular season games. He's trying to keep his job. So I would expect to see a lot of that Daniel Jones style football on Sunday. And also, they have some really good young skill guys on their offense. Malik Neighbors, he missed last week because of a concussion. Dude's a stud. And Wendell Robinson, who was a former second-round draft pick that hadn't really done much in the league, he's really good. I picked him up in fantasy a couple weeks ago. He's helped my roster quite a bit. And then Tyrone Tracy, who's come in because of injury, he's the rookie fifth-round pick running back. He's been really, really good as well. Giants don't have a great offensive line. Andrew Thomas is out for multiple weeks. He's their by far best lineman. He's their left tackle. So I'm not telling you that the Giants have a good line or anything like that. But the Eagles are banged up. Jalen Carter didn't practice yesterday. Slay didn't practice yesterday. We'll see where they are today. Even if they play on Sunday, it's still very telling that they're banged up going in to the game. So I think this is a very ugly, close game. And the fact that the Eagles don't necessarily fare well in New York, I saw a lot of this online, and I'm probably going to see it again when people react to me saying that the Giants are going to win the game. I saw a ton of people already saying, if they can't beat the Giants on Sunday, just blow it up and trade everybody away at the trade deadline. Well, be careful what you say, because if they lose the game, you're not going to want to trade everybody away at the trade deadline. It'll feel like a terrible loss. It'll be Nick Sirianni should be fired again. This is not an easy game for where the Eagles are right now and how they're playing, where they are with injuries, and just the overall matchup right now. I don't think it's an easy game for the Eagles. So I actually have them losing 20. Did I put 20-16? Was that the final score that I put in there? I think it's going to be an ugly one. 20-17, the Giants win outright. Tyler, you'll give your pick coming up here on the game, but your overall assessment on the game, and are you getting the same feel for Sunday that I am?
I mean, I think that in order to answer that question, I almost have to kind of give my pick a little bit. I do think the Eagles win this game. And my assessment of this game is everything you laid out is a fair point. I will also add to the fact that both Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns have not practiced this week at all yet either. Both swear they're going to play this week. We'll see what happens today. Obviously, Thursday's kind of the day, right? Like if Thursday they full practice, then they're going to play. If they limited practice, they probably will play. If they no practice, it's up in the air until game time. Neither of those guys have played. I imagine they'll be questionable questionable on the depth chart. That's a huge blow to their pass rush, which has been very, very good this year, as you made mention. They are 10th in yards allowed this year. They were 27th a year ago. They're 9th in points allowed. They were 26th a year ago. The defense has gotten much, much better. And the fact that the defense has been as good as it is, and they still rank 29th in the NFL in points scored. They are minus 25 on the year in terms of point differential. They're 2-4, but their 2 wins came by totals of 6 and by 9 to the Seahawks. But they also lost to the Vikings by 20 plus. Then they lost a bunch of close games to Dallas by 5, to Washington by 3. They lose last week 17-7 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Their defense is keeping them in games for the most part. The most points they've given up all year is the 28 they allowed to Minnesota. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I would definitely consider the under in this game, but I do think that the Eagles win this game on the strength of the fact that, yes, Jordan Mailata is going to be out. If Lawrence and Burns are limited or don't play, I think that neutralizes their defense a little bit.
Sure.
Hopefully buys a little bit more time for Jalen Hurts. I think this is going to be an ugly, old school NFC East, like just, kind of sloppy game like we've come to expect. I will take the Eagles in this one. You said Giants 20-17. It's actually funny. My pick was Eagles 20-17 in this one. That was before you sent it to me. I'll change it if you want me to.
No.
But that was my pick prior to the game, or prior to you sending me your pick. Was the Eagles?
It's different sides, so we're not picking the same score, just the opposite directions. So you like the Giants plus 3.5. You don't think the Eagles cover.
So that's the thing. The half-point line feels like the hook for me. I think the Eagles win this one close. I'm going to take them by 3. So I guess in this particular scenario, I'm going to take the Giants plus 3.5, which feels kind of gross at home. But home dogs are something that kind of feel like a calling card. So I will take the Giants with the points. I'm going to take the Eagles to win the game, though.
By the way, you mentioned the under. Jalen Hurts, there have been a lot of unders with Jalen Hurts recently as well. So I think the under is a good pick for Sunday. All right, we'll get to our locks coming up in a second, but let's talk about Rite Aid. I actually need to go. I need to go to Rite Aid right now. I have this, and it's tough. When I'm on the radio, I get a couple minutes each hour to where I can go spit my loogies in a cup. I shared a studio with somebody, not going to mention who it is. They used to have this loogie cup that she would spit in, or that they would spit in, and would leave the cup in the studio, among other things like oranges and forks and knives and 5 bottles of mustard. And anyway, but it's tough, right? So that's why I need to get to Rite Aid, because I need every kind of freaking over-the-counter medicine right now. I need Mucinex. I can't get rid of the mucus. But listen, go to Rite Aid today. Over-the-counter medicines, household products, cosmetics, and more. Shout out to the staff at Rite Aid that see me like 3 days a week in Royersford. I am always there. Picking up prescriptions. Prescription notifications at Rite Aid. They text me and say, hey, your prescription's ready. What prescription's ready? Oh, I have automatic refills. That's right. You can get all of your refills kind of bundled together, so you only have to go once a month to pick them all up. So it's one-trip refills. Ask your pharmacist to sync your medications so you pick them up in one visit. Do it with your family members too. Just ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist to get started. And if you have any questions about anything, like I feel like, what should I do? I have this rash on my arm. What's good for that, right? Just ask the pharmacist. That's what they're there for, all right? You can also manage your prescriptions with the Rite Aid mobile app. You can download it from the Apple App Store or Google Play. You can transfer or refill your prescription, set up medication reminders, enroll in prescription notifications. Everything right there on the app. It's awesome. Rite Aid, get there. The Rite Aid caring pharmacists are ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Rite Aid, restrictions may apply. All right, Bet Parks, we talked about them. The Birds, minus 3.5. It's went up. We'll see where it is at kickoff. Maybe it goes to 4. Maybe it's a time to buy in. I would wait just to see if it gets down to 3, because as Tyler mentioned, that hook, I wouldn't like that if I was betting the Eagles. Maybe you're looking before the weekend. You want to get in on, hey, who's going to win the Eastern Conference in the NBA? How about our team, plus 400? Boston, minus 150. New York, plus 300. Milwaukee, plus 600 as the season starts next week. BetParks is the only online casino and sportsbook that I would ever recommend. That's for sure. All right, you got the games coming up on Sunday, college football coming up on Saturday, big games, and new users right now, download the BetParks online casino app and sportsbook. Get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. So if you're down in the first 24 hours, up to $1,000 casino bonus back. It must be wagered, by the way. BetParks.com for details. Your casino bonus must be wagered, and you must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, or Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. There you go. All right, let's give you the locks of the week. I have climbed above 500, and listen, just saying, and my overall record may not be great outside of the Eagles, but I'm 5-0 in my Eagles picks. And in previous years, I have suffered in my Eagles picks because I've been off with the Eagles. I'm on with the Eagles, and I'm on again with them this week. So listen, you can put that line up all you want. I'm taking the Giants to win outright, but I'll certainly take the Giants plus 3.5. I just think it's one of these NFC East slogs, and it's not a good matchup for the Eagles right now. So I am going the Giants plus 3.5. All right, well, let's go to, as I look for my picks here, let's go to the Vikings and Lions. This is purely a game that when I look for, like, all right, who was the biggest, most emotional win in the NFL last week? It was the Lions. The Lions absolutely, positively blew the doors off of the Dallas Cowboys on the road. The Lions look like the best team in football. Everybody's singing their praises. Oh, the Lions, Jared Goff. The offense is dynamic. Oh, my God. And now they're playing a very good Vikings team on the road. The Vikings are 1.5-point favorites. They're undefeated. But still, if the Lions, if the odds makers felt like the Lions were coming in and winning this game, I think they'd be favored by a point or 2 points. I like the Vikings in this situation. Division games I normally stay away from. I got 2 division games that I'm doing this week. I'll take Minnesota minus 1.5. Bengals and Browns. Bengals 5.5-point road favorites. We saw the Browns last week. Does anybody think the Browns are going to get better, not worse, or stay the same? Meanwhile, the Bengals need to get on a little bit of a roll after starting the season poorly. And I think this week is the week where they really get rolling. Everybody seems to be getting healthy. And Joe Burrow, in a situation against the Browns, I like him this week. Take Cincinnati minus 5.5. Bills and Titans. Bills are 9-point favorites. The Bills were one of my teams at the beginning of the season that I thought were being undervalued because a lot of people looked at what they lost in the offseason as opposed to sometimes subtraction, addition by subtraction. And that's really what they did. They got a little bit younger. They moved on from a wide receiver that was consistently happy. And now they've made a move for Amari Cooper. So they traded for Amari Cooper. He comes in, and he actually is in a great situation now. And that's a huge upgrade for Buffalo. They needed a veteran wide receiver, and they got him in Amari Cooper. I like the Bills minus 9. But as Tyler Zuli and I were talking about before the show, the biggest reason why I'm betting against the Titans this week is Will Levis stinks. And I think Buffalo's really, really good. So I'm going to take the Bills minus 9 at home over the Tennessee Titans. Tyler Zuli, your locks of the week, sir.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to get your graphic here. It wouldn't work for me. But there's your 3 picks. Let everybody see them on.
Yeah, the 7 and 11 I don't like, but overall 12 and 11. I'm over 500, and I will continue to improve on that record. Now, you're 11 games over 500 in your picks, so I have 10 games to make up. I have a long way to go here, Tyler.
It's okay. There's a lot of football left to be played. So yes, let's get to those picks now. I'm just gonna start off by saying you and I are gonna go head to head in this one. I'm just going to attack against the spread. And go right after this game. I'm taking the Lions in this game with the points. I get your sentiment. I also understand that the loss of Aiden Hutchinson is going to be massive for a pass rush that desperately needs him. They need to go out and acquire a playmaker on the defensive line, and whether that be a Max Crosby or they go and get a Hassan Reddick and sign him to a contract extension. I don't know what the case may be. They need to replace that value. He's been one of the best defensive players in the NFL this year. I like this offense a lot. I think they're rolling. I think that the Vikings have played some really, really inspiring football. They're coming off the bye. They're undefeated. I think at some point you are going to lose a home game that maybe you feel like you have the opportunity to win. The Vikings could very well win this game. I get your point about it only being a 1.5 spread. I'm going to take the Lions with the points because I think they're going to win this game outright. But if you're going to give me the extra almost 2 points, I'm going to take it. Let me go to the Green Bay Packers next. This is a really good game, and I apologize. My graphic is backwards. The Packers are the home team in this game. The Texans are on the road. This one has fluctuated between 2.5 and 3.5. It's settled on BetParks at -3. The Texans are playing really good football. No Nico Collins this week, and they are the most penalized team in the NFL this season. At some point, that's going to come back to bite you. They've been really, really good in low-scoring, close games this year and into last year as well. I think that metric just kind of swings the other way for 1 week. I'm going to take Green Bay at home with this one. Josh Jacobs has not scored a touchdown at Lambeau Field yet this season. I think he's going to this week. The Packers run the ball well. Jordan Love protects the football. I think they beat the Houston Texans by more than 3 points. I'll take them with the 3.5. The LA Rams might be getting Cooper Kupp back. They're definitely getting Kyron Williams back. Not getting back. They're coming off the bye. Kyron Williams has been one of the best running backs in the NFL. And I think that this defense is going to be able to kind of feast a little bit with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback for the Vegas Raiders, and now no Devontae Adams. Vegas doesn't pose a threat. I can't believe I'm taking a one-win team with the points, with this many points, but I feel good about it. I just think Vegas is trending in the absolute wrong direction. If Cooper Kupp does get back to play today, plus the fact that I think Kyron Williams is going to go for 100-plus a score in this one, Matt Stafford protects the ball like he normally does. I think the Rams can win this game by a touchdown. I'm going to take them at home -5.5. So I'm going to take the Lions at +1.5, the Packers at -3, and the Rams at -5.5.
Yeah. By the way, Josh Jacobs, my fantasy football running back, so I know he hasn't been scoring touchdowns. Yeah, I saw the Raiders that Antonio Pierce, he's most likely not going to be back next week. But Tom Brady's now the owner of the minority owner of the Raiders, and that's been approved. So now he's not allowed to go to any meeting or practice or anything like that in his role at Fox. But the first story to come out is that he's going to court Bill Belichick to come to Las Vegas to be the Raiders coach.
By the way, speaking about the Lions and the Vikings, I just see this one from The Athletic writes this up, and it was from the New York Times as well. I didn't realize this. We know that Brian Flores is the D coordinator of the Vikings. He loves to blitz. He loves to dial up the blitz.
That's a good defense.
Do you know Jared Goff is completing 71% of his passes against the blitz this year? If Goff gets the ball out of his hands quickly, there could be an opportunity for some quick strike, high efficient passing plays for the Lions, which should open up the run game.
Well, Brian Flores better have a better plan if that's what his plan is, just to go ahead and do jailhouse blitzes against Jared Goff. No, you're right. Jared Goff's incredibly efficient. He has turned back into a very good quarterback. All right, well, there you go. Wanted to end with this. So our buddy Pat Egan. Pat was my intern at 97.5 The Fanatic a long time ago. Tyler worked with Pat probably a lot over.
Oh yeah, a ton. Pat and I are good buddies for sure.
Yeah. So he put out Pat since leaving The Fanatic. He does his YouTube stuff where he's like a movie reviewer. He puts these movie reviews out that gets tens of thousands of views. But he put this out. And excuse me, I can't. Sorry, my loogie cup, which is my empty Yeti.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I needed to exit my throat. He live video right here. So he puts out. Do you have what he put out? So he puts this tweet out, and it's so funny because I think everybody can relate. But he puts it out. It's a picture of his phone screen, and so there it is. He has 201 unlistened to voicemails. First of all, how is that even? Why did they allow that many voicemails to not be listened to? Shouldn't there be a limit?
So that's a combination of voicemails and missed calls.
Oh, it is?
It's not just voicemail. Yeah, because so for right now I have 4. I have 1 missed call and 3 voicemails.
And so it comes up like that.
So it's a combination of the two.
So he could clear that by just pressing the recent button on the iPhone, and that would clear all the missed calls.
You don't have to go through these messages.
Right, but it's not even the messages. Like if you just hit recent on your phone, it should clear it to where it doesn't have all
Correct.
of them, right? All right, so like right now I have 11 voicemails on my phone. The last 5 are from Herb from Northeast Philly. And then I have a bunch. I don't even know why I have these on here. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most of them are from Herb. I just save them in case I want to use them as content later. And these are like from months ago as well. So I'm definitely somebody that.
That's yours, by the way.
Yes, that's what mine looks like right now. So I have 5 unread texts, and these are probably old texts that it would take me forever to go through and find what they were. Do you get a lot of presidential texts?
It's funny. My wife asked me this yesterday. I did the last cycle. I got a ton of political texts. This year, I haven't gotten a ton.
I get a few. It's funny. My wife is getting. Because I don't answer anything that's not a call that I know or a number that I recognize. I don't answer it anyway, so I don't know what those calls are. But she gets I don't know, maybe 10 text messages a day from the political stuff. So she'll be like, hey, look, another vote another Trump, another Harris. Like, she's totally over it. But yeah, so I'm down to 2. I just went through and I cleared it off. How many unread text messages do you have?
So I actually have no unread text messages.
Wow.
I'm really good with my texts. I'm okay with my calls. The problem, John, is I am terrible with my emails.
How many emails do you have?
22,303 unread emails. Now, I would bet you 19,000 of them are either like promotional ads or spam that you just never get to. Right. And then you get the notification on Gmail that says, they say, do you want to unsubscribe from blah, blah, blah because you haven't responded in 3 months? And I'm like, what do you want me to respond to you? Want me to say thanks when they send me a coupon?
I got one of those yesterday too. Yep. Yeah, I got one of them yesterday. I think it was Kohl's. It's like, you haven't responded to Kohl's in a month. And I'm like, what do you want? You haven't opened an email from Kohl's in a month. What
do you want me to, text Kohl's, see how they're doing? Ask them to go out to lunch?
Well, no, they're saying you should unsubscribe to it if you're not even reading it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're giving you it. So
Dear Kohl's, would you like to grab breakfast with me?
I'm very good at unsubscribing to things. Like this one right here, hotels.com, I subscribed to a few weeks ago because my wife and I were going, we went into the city for a night and stayed the night. So I was looking at hotels.com to try to get a discount or something. But yeah, like for the most part, I'm pretty good at being like, all right, I don't like, here's the Dunkin'. Like I'll leave the Dunkin' because sometimes they send you good stuff. Instacart, I don't need you anymore. Instacart, boom, see ya. Unsubscribe. So I'll unsubscribe to stuff just so I don't have that many emails. But I try to go through almost every day. But I would say you are, and in our chat, people can probably tell us what their stats are as far as voicemails, missed calls, emails, and things like that. I would say you're closer to the norm on the email thing.
Probably. And Flyers and 7 says they would send me read requests. Now, I will say this. My read receipts are on my text. If I open the text and don't respond, you can see that it says read at,
Why do you have them on?
I think first of all, I think it's a respect thing. Because here's my thing. If I send you it's funny. I'm a huge proponent of if I send you a text and you don't respond to me, it is absolutely no care in the world. Unless it's something urgent, right? If I send you a text, John, and say, who you like this weekend? And you don't respond because you got stuff at home, right? You're doing something with the kids or whatever. You are never going to hurt my feelings because we're adults and we have lives and all of that.
Right.
But I also look at it inversely where I'm like, I have to answer everybody all the time. You know what that's called? You know what that stems from? That's Catholic school guilt. That's what I have is Catholic school guilt of 12 years of going to Catholic school and feeling like I have to appease and please everybody all the time. So
that would make sense.
I always have my read receipts on. You'll know when I read your text.
I'm actually just it reminds me that I didn't get back to somebody on Wednesday. It's all about when you text too. If you text me at 10:30 at night, there's a better chance you're getting a text back at 4:30 in the morning.
Correct. Right. Yeah, I'm not responding at 10:30.
Yeah, like even if I'm awake, my phone's probably done for the night.
Correct.
When I'm done for the night, even if I'm still awake and watching TV, I'm done for the night. I'm not up
100%
doom scrolling
unless I'm live tweeting. Like if I'm watching the Phillies, and I got my phone in my hand and I'm tweeting, then I'll get back to you. But if I'm sitting watching a TV show with my wife and we're just hanging out and it's the end of the night and I'm getting ready for bed, I'm not. You get a text at 6 o'clock in the morning. If you respond, you respond. If you don't, no big deal.
Exactly right. So Pat Egan, you have nothing else going on, man. I know you got 2 young kids. You have Pat Egan. You have nothing else going on. I hope you took care of those voicemails. None of those voicemails were mine, by the way. So I would never I just text Pat.
You know what the funny thing is, too? I'm not a big leave a voicemail guy.
I would never leave a voicemail.
I like talking on the phone. My dad and I chat all the time. My mom and I chat all the time. If I get a call from a buddy randomly, it's nice to catch up with them. I like talking as opposed to texting. Right. But if you call me and leave me a voicemail, I will not listen to the voicemail. I'm just going to call you back. Right.
I think most people are like that. Right. And by the way, shout out to the diehards out there. What up, diehards? Thank you very much for everything. Unless like I say, hey, leave me a voicemail with this information that I need so I have it. A specific reason.
Yeah, if it's a doctor's note or something.
If you're calling me And like Tyler, if you were calling me and you leave a message, I'm not listening to the message. I'm just going to text or call you back.
Don't blame me.
Yeah, and I feel like nobody listens to it.
The one thing I always find funny, I say this to my mom to her face, so she's not going to mind that I say this. I give her flack for this because she'll miss my call, right? And then she'll call me back and she goes, "Hey, you called?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom, that's what caller ID is for. It's going to pop up. It comes up Tyler or
Hey,
Tyler's cell phone or whatever my name is saved in your phone." I always give her crap for it because she does it every time. She's like, "You called?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom, that's what caller ID is for." And she's like, "Shut up, I know."
Oh, you're funny, man. That's good. All right, well, listen, despite me picking against the Birds, go Birds, beat the Giants on Sunday. But I'll look forward to it. Some good college games as well. Uncle Jamie's picks for the weekend. I'm going to post them on social media coming up tomorrow. So if you missed them, Uncle Jamie 2-1 last week. He's got 3 more buttes for you this week. So enjoy your weekend. Everybody will be back on Monday at 8 a.m. Everybody out there that's watching on YouTube, either live or at your convenience, we appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment in the episode with what you think about everything. We appreciate you. And if you're listening on podcasts, we got a lot of podcast listeners. All right, we appreciate it. It's posted every day right after 9 o'clock. Tyler gets it up there, so we appreciate everybody that's listening and watching. We'll talk to you on Monday at 8 a.m. Have a great weekend. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.